Welcome to our video on basic atomic chemistry, and we're going to start by taking a look at a hydrogen atom. In the nucleus of an atom, there's protons and neutrons. Orbiting around the nucleus are electrons. Protons have a positive charge, electrons have a negative charge. And when you look at some characteristics of an atom, the atomic number for hydrogen will be 1. It refers to the number of protons in the nucleus. This also, the number of protons, determines what element it is. If you change the protons, you change the actual element. The atomic mass is going to be 2. That refers to the number of protons and neutrons present. The mass of electrons is negligible. Is it charged? No. You have one positive proton which gets canceled out by the one negative electron, leaving you with a neutral charge, no charge at all. Let's see what happens if one of these hydrogen atoms gives off an electron. The atom that loses an electron is oxidized. The atom that gains the electron is reduced, became more negative. These actions happen together and they're known as redox reactions. The atom that gained an electron will have a negative charge. 2 negatives plus 1 positive means you have 1 negative electron left over. The atom that gave off the electron is also charged, but it's a positive charge because you have no negative electrons and you still have 1 positive proton. Atoms that have a charge are known as ions. Ions are just any charged atom. So we're looking at an atom of hydrogen again, and we're going to add some neutrons. We'll start with 1. If you add a neutron here, the atomic number, no change at all. It stays 1, because it's the number of protons. The atomic mass, protons plus neutrons, does change. Changes to 3. Is there any charge? No. Neutrons are neutral and don't affect the charge of an atom. If you keep on adding neutrons, you'll keep on increasing the atomic mass. If you change the number of neutrons, add them or take them away, the atom that you remove or add neutrons to is called an isotope. Isotopes are when atoms have their neutron number changed. Back to our hydrogen atom. Let's add some protons. If you add a proton here, 2 of them, you're going to change hydrogen to lithium. The proton number determines the element. So if you change that number, the proton number, which is the atomic number, you change the element. So the atomic number went from 1 to 3. The atomic mass also changes to 4. Atomic mass is protons plus neutrons. Does the charge change? Yep. You have 3 positives, 1 negative. You have 2 extra protons, positive protons. Let's add a couple more protons for a total of 5. So our atomic number is 5. Atomic mass changes to 6. Charge, it becomes more positive. So if you add or remove protons, you change the element. You also change the atomic mass and you change the actual charge. I forgot to change this. Lithium will become boron with a positive 4 charge. Looking at the electrons, remember we said they were in distinct orbits around the nucleus? Well, those orbits really can only hold a certain number of electrons. The first orbital, or shell, only holds about 2 electrons. Only 2 electrons. The second orbital holds 8 electrons. The third one holds 18, and so on. The outermost shell of electrons is known as the valence shell, or valence electrons. These are the high energy electrons. They allow atoms to interact with other atoms. It allows an atom to be reactive. They want to go crashing to the positive proton, negative positives attract, but they don't. There is energy holding the electrons away, which is why the outermost electrons are known as high energy electrons. Also important to know the octet rule. Atoms, they want to have 8 electrons in their outer shell, their outer valence shell, and they will do a lot to get those 8 electrons. They'll lose electrons, they'll steal them, or they'll share electrons to get 8 electrons to satisfy that octet rule. So let's see how this is done. I'm going to move the oxygen atom down. And we're going to add in a little more to this picture. We're going to add in a hydrogen atom, which technically is only a proton and electron. And hydrogen atoms only have 1 electron, which works out kind of good for oxygen, because each hydrogen atom gives an electron to oxygen. Well, oxygen only has 6 electrons in its outer shell, so if it adds 1 electron, it'll be 7. If it adds another electron, it will be 8 electrons. That satisfies the octet rule. Oxygen and hydrogen are now sharing electrons, which satisfies the octet rule. Oxygen now has 8 electrons in its outer shell, and this forms a covalent bond since they're sharing electrons. This makes the molecule H2O, water. 2 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of oxygen. And if you look, all these positive protons are kind of grouped to one side, giving it a slight positive charge. The opposite side is slightly negative, making this molecule polar because it has a slightly positive and negative end. Thank you for watching.